Black Dog After Dark is recorded in a video store by people who have been drinking. We swear a lot, and there's spoilers. It's not safe for work, unless you work in a video store and have also been drinking.
His back is just like a battlefield of acne.
All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
I know that, Mr. Man. They also call them cereals. I'm not stupid, you know.
The story is ludicrous. You can imagine where it goes from here.
Fixes the cable.
Combine the discipline and the power of gymnastics with the explosive force of karate, and a new, all-powerful martial art is born, GYMKATA. When gymnastics and karate are fused, the combustion becomes an explosion, and a new kind of martial arts superhero is born, GYMKATA.
Let's try that again. It is Black Dog Video. It is After Dark. That makes us the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, a.k.a. Black Dog After Dark. I'm one of your trio of hosts, Dylan Reimer. I'm a stand-up comic and casual employee of Black Dog Video. And to my left is...
My name's Alex Chisholm. I am a long-time veteran employee of Black Dog Video.
14 years, apparently.
14 years, that's right.
Christ.
And much to Darren's astonishment, we can't figure out why I wasn't canned within minutes
I
of
know.
my first year. But I also work at the Rio Theater in the neighborhood. I'm an events programmer there and film programmer, and I've been there 10 years, in case you're wondering.
Oh, we were, yes. I'm Darren Gay. I own this dank, shoddy establishment doing a movie that Alex has picked for some reason.
GYMKATA, well, this is just a movie I've always cherished in my memory. I remember first seeing it after a hockey practice when I was a kid. I played minor hockey for 2 years as a kid in Pee Wee. I quit as soon as checking came in.
Yeah, that's when I quit too.
Level, yeah.
I was a really tiny guy though. You're a bigger guy.
I was tall and skinny, but I wasn't very thick, and I wasn't very coordinated. So I would, I was prone to being, destroyed by a check. But luckily there was no checking in Pee Wee. But anyway, this film came out in '85. I guess I was in grade 8 at the time, and grade 7 or 8, and it was in the flurry of mid '80s. Martial arts movies like American Ninja and all those crazy films that were coming out. The 80s action film boom, martial arts boom. And yeah, I remember seeing the ads for it and thinking it looked wild and entertaining, even if it was kind of, the ads weren't long enough to reveal the craziness of the premise, but just to see this guy flipping around on poles and beating people up was pretty cool. Me and a guy named Bobby Orr, not the hockey great, but an actual team.
Because we're just going to ask you.
You were, I know. Playing
Although
hockey
it'd be weird if you were playing hockey with Bobby Orr, because he would have been probably about 35 then.
Something like that, yeah. And anyway, it was a kid named Bobby Orr. Me and him, after a Friday night hockey practice, used to rent movies, and we rented GYMKATA. And I just remember this film going so far beyond the expectations of what we were thinking.
Nice.
We were
you and Bobby Orr watching a movie together.
Me and Bobby Orr checking out GYMKATA.
Nice.
So that's my memory of it. And it's just a film I've always loved to talk about ever since I first saw it, and I've seen it many times since. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was perfect podcast material.
So there was method to your madness.
There was method to my madness.
I thought you just randomly grabbed one off the shelf.
No.
Just walked by, caught his eye.
This movie has a very warm place in my heart. I've recommended it to many satisfied customers over the years. And I even recently had an old friend of mine, Ben, in Montreal, another film lover, wrote me out of the blue on Facebook saying, hey, years ago you recommended a movie to me called GYMKATA, and I finally got around to watching it, and he told me how hard he laughed, like falling off his couch while watching it.
Did he actually fell off his couch?
He fell off his couch.
Was he okay?
He was okay.
Okay,
he was okay, yeah. So there's my rant intro to why I picked GYMKATA.
D?
Me, I actually have never seen it before. I apparently, in 1985, I would have been 20. I missed the gymnastics karate craze that was sweeping the nation at the time. I guess I was more into like hacky sack and Rubik's cubes, driving my Camaro, scrunchies, all that kind of stuff. But no, I've never seen it. I've never seen it before. So yeah, no, it's one of those ones I've always wanted to watch because I love a good bad movie. I was actually quite happy when you picked it, much to one of our co-hosts' chagrin.
Yeah, Dylan, on the other hand, absolutely was not happy.
I was not particularly thrilled.
He was actually in tears when I saw him.
Really?
Yeah, he was so upset. He took his shirt off. He stomped around the
Oh
store.
my
He was
God.
crying.
The text.
My
sort
father.
of
Well, my
indicate
father
they
was
hinted
killed by
towards
a
that.
rogue gymnast.
Really?
Really? Okay.
In Romania or wherever
Yeah,
this
that's
movie
right.
takes place?
Yeah,
Parmesan.
uneven parallel bar, went out of control.
Is that really what the place is
That's where
called?
it's set, yeah.
I
kept hearing Parmesan.
I could never figure out where this movie was set the whole time I was watching.
Parmesan.
I
It's
thought it
filmed
was
in Czechoslovakia, but it was
Yugoslavia.
billed as-
Actually.
Yugoslavia.
Oh, was it Yugoslavia?
Well, what it was then Yugoslavia.
Oh,
I don't
I
know exactly
see,
where
okay.
in Yugoslavia.
I saw this is one where I would see the boxes and never rent it because I hate sports and I really hate gymnastics and I wasn't really into action movies when I was a
I
kid.
guess they could be considered sports.
It's totally sports.
Yeah,
If fucking bowling is a sport, then for sure gymnastics is a sport.
I guess.
There's no debate whether or not gymnastics.
Yeah, well,
actually
from this
Well,
one.
but what about gymnastics and karate combined? Is that a sport?
I saw these boxes and I always avoided it. Honestly, I'd never seen the movie until the Gentlemen Hecklers, Vancouver's own Gentlemen Hecklers, did it at the Rio Theater.
That would have been fun to see.
And it was pretty
That was
funny.
good, yeah.
But I had absolutely zero urge to ever watch this movie a second time. And I don't know. I was in a bad mood when Alex picked it. It's a terrible fucking movie.
So that's it. Podcast over.
Yeah, we're done.
All right. Drive safe.
Yeah, we'll actually get the chicken wings. We'll be on time for the chicken wings. Okay, so 1985, GYMKATA, directed by
Does it
Robert
matter?
Klaus.
Robert Klaus.
Does it matter?
Budget of $4 million.
Really?
Made $5.7 million.
Well, that's pretty good. Return on your investment
Robert
there.
Klaus, who also directed Game of Death and Enter the Dragon.
That's right.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah, so he has a bit of a
I'll tell you why
history.
that's interesting later.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. This movie is quite a bit like Enter the Dragon, actually.
Well, there's a fan theory about Robert Klaus, by the way, because Enter the Dragon has that famous credit after acknowledging him as director of the film. It actually says fight sequences choreographed or whatever by Bruce Lee. And the basic theory is like Robert Klaus just pointed the camera where it was supposed to. Obviously, Bruce Lee really directed.
Right.
Well, but no, he directed the stunts.
Yeah, because what? Like,
But the film is 3/4 stunts.
So
yeah,
he just directed like them walking to the arena,
Yeah,
maybe taking the
stuff
boat
like that,
or
yeah.
eating
He
dinner.
told people what to do, but he didn't like organize the cinematography and
No, directors
render the
don't do
film
that,
or
but-
whatever and do the oversee the editing.
No,
you know?
and I'm sure for the fight sequences, like the fight sequences are hard to film. You have to you can't. A bad filmmaker will just have lots of fast edits, up close stuff. To especially when you're filming somebody like Bruce Lee, you want to have the camera back so you can see everything that's going on. So I've been, to be honest, it's been like, I don't know, 30 years since I've seen Enter the Dragon, which is quite a good film. But yeah, it is.
That's a questionable
Oh,
statement.
it's quite a fun film. It's got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in it.
So it starts out, you see Kurt Thomas doing what he does. Gymnastics, it's seemingly in the Olympics.
My question is, who's Kurt Thomas?
Well, he was an Olympic contender, and a lot of people think he would have won gold in the 1980 Olympics, but America boycotted them.
Oh, that was the ones that were in Russia?
Yeah,
And Soviet
so
Union?
they boycotted it, and then somehow, somewhere out
Thought he'd
there,
be a movie
somebody
star?
decided to offer him a movie contract. Weird.
Yeah.
Well, it's not crazy. I mean, if you look at Steven Seagal or whatever. I mean, it's not the first time. I mean, athletes have become action stars before.
It's
haven't
true.
they?
He's an
Like
odd
O.J.
choice.
Simpson did a few action
Well, a
movies.
lot of NFL stars in the 70s when
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Joe Namath made some.
Yeah.
Kareem in
NBA,
Game of Death.
Yeah.
O.J.
But
Simpson.
so,
and
as far as I know,
California.
though, like GYMKATA was not an Olympic sport, right?
No.
Okay.
You're
No,
joking,
no,
right?
Gymnastics.
Yes,
was.
I am joking.
But I don't know. I would like to know more about the actual genesis, the making of the movie.
Well, was there any special
Well,
features?
No, there's no special features
Oh, yeah.
on there.
You know what the special feature? Sorry.
It's the trailer, right?
Yeah, and then also a trailer for a prequel to the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Really?
Oh, was it wine? It's probably Moonrunners, right?
No. I mean, it was
Moonrunners.
actually like the Dukes of Hazzard, their first score, and it's like a horrible prequel to that like late.
I didn't know there was
90s.
Is that the guy? Or that's the guy that was in the original?
No, but there's a little known
Kill
fact
Show.
that there is a 70s movie called Moonrunners.
That is a little known fact.
And it's true, and it's got Waylon Jennings doing the music and stuff, and Bo and Luke, but it's different actors, and Uncle Jesse's in it. Waylon Jennings speaks the narrators, and they turned it into the Dukes of Hazzard.
How do you know this?
Because
He knows everything.
How do you know
Moonrunners, and I've never seen Moonrunners. I've only seen
It's that
chunks of it.
tinfoil hat, man.
But
It just
it's
pulls
a-
information out of
it's
the
a,
stratosphere.
It's a redneck drive-in movie from the mid-70s. But I would like to
Moonshine,
know more about
Moonrunners.
like the executives who saw Kurt Thomas and then.
I did research, and there's no information.
No, there
about
is
this
no
movie.
information.
Did he do anything after this?
He didn't know. He's
He did 2 movies after this, but they were both flops.
Oh, I didn't know he did movies after.
They were in a big hit like this one.
He's still involved in the world of gymnastics. Like he's a commentator on certain shows.
Right.
The plot. So
anyway, so
Kurt Thomas is doing gymnastics,
like really intense gymnastics.
Oh, that's what
with
another
like,
one.
and it's funny because they show him doing with like really dramatic lighting, and it keeps cutting to like horses running around,
and it's almost like it's setting up a collision course between the modern day gymnast, warrior, and like these guys from the past.
Is that? I thought they're comparing him to the power and the majesty of a
Christians did their gymnastics,
or maybe they were alluding that he's maybe like.
It's weird.
I think maybe.
But at first, it's just a shot of the balance beam before you actually see his hands grab it and he starts spinning stuff. It's just keeps showing guys on horses intercut with the image of like a beam.
Yeah, no, it was weird.
You don't know what you're looking at.
I thought maybe they were implying he was like a centaur or something. Maybe like half man. Centaur and Minotaur, are they the same thing?
Minotaur is the guy with the bull head,
right?
And the centaur is the guy with the horse.
Centaur, he's got like centaur
horse legs, like
Newt from wasn't he? Newt from
Aliens? From Aliens?
No, that would have been great though.
Yeah.
No, from the Hercules cartoon.
Oh, that
his strange little friend Newt was a centaur, was he not?
I don't know.
Anyways. He was Newton. His name was.
Was it
and
Newton?
He was a centaur.
Oh, I thought he was called Newt.
No, Newt.
Well, I call him Newt for sure.
Is there anything you don't know that? Is there any piece of arbitrary?
No wonder you don't need.
You gotta let me out of the story.
Rattling around
locked up here for over a decade.
Well, you're not getting out tonight.
So we see horses, and they're kind of running around the forest, and then we see GYMKATA guy fucking swinging around on the uneven parallel bars, and he wins a big award or whatever. And,
is that what they're called? Uneven parallel?
Yeah, the uneven parallel bars, because he uses them later.
Right. Sure
in an amazing fucking scene.
My favorite
he's
scene
like walking through he's in the chick. Oh yeah.
No, he's going to the backstage
with a hot
area.
Chick. This hot chick is with him.
Well, a woman's following him, yeah, but some sort of government official looking type guy in a leisure suit stops to speak to him.
No,
stops the girl.
He stops the girl from coming in, and I'm like, well, thanks a lot. Cock blocker. Hello.
Yeah.
And
she looks devastated, by the way.
What I could never, and only one woman in the entire stadium. Anyways, and then he's like,
was he performing in front of people?
He was.
Yeah. It was like a big Olympics thing.
I was well into my cups when I was watching this movie.
And then so then the G-Man guy is like, you need to go to Parmistan. Like, but at no point did they establish what the relationship is. So is Kurt Thomas? Was he secretly a spy this whole time?
No,
because he knew everything about Parmistan without opening a book.
No, because of his dad. Because the horses at the beginning that are being intercut, they're chasing a guy who's soon to be revealed to be. By the way, our hero, Kurt Thomas, his name's Jonathan Cabot in the film.
We're not going to be
show a bit of respect.
Really?
Jonathan Cabot's dad.
I call him GYMKATA, is what I'm calling him.
Me too. I call him GYMKATA.
GYMKATA, but his dad.
That's the name he was born with. We call him GYMKATA.
Okay?
Big GYMKATA.
His dad is running from those horses in the beginning, and he's basically what we find out. He's been in this game that Kurt Thomas is about to enter, that his son were about to be.
You see, I'm watching this, and they show a bunch of horses and a bunch of guys standing around in track pants, and I'm like, I thought it was set in the Middle Ages, and then there's guys in track pants, and then dudes just standing in fields like wearing like KKK.
Well, I gotta tell you,
well, they're more kind of like ninjas. Guys. It's supposed to be. It's a fictional country caught up in the medieval.
If I'm this guy and someone says, "Hey, you got to go to Parmesan," bullshit. That's not a country. Like, I'm not going to.
But I knows about it because his dad. It's established that basically it's like your dad was on a mission. We want you to continue that mission, and his dad took him to this fictitious country often as a kid.
That sounds really.
That's how he knows it's.
I'll have another one of those.
Okay, because I got
that sounds like really shady to me.
Like the father takes an arrow in the beginning. He gets shot.
This guy gets a lot of arrows.
He does get a lot of arrows.
He's a fucking human pincushion.
He is.
So G-Man is just like, all right, you got to go to Parmistan, and
keep saying it.
It's fucking hilarious. So I couldn't figure if GYMKATA was like a spy who was a double agent. who's pretending to be
why
a
did they
gymnast.
why did they recruit him to go to Parmesan?
I have no idea.
To compete in this weird game, and to what ends?
And by the way, no American has won the game
in 7,000.
No, he says 900 years.
That's right. It's a deadly obstacle course.
But did they know that America hasn't existed for 900 years? Like, it's not.
Oh yeah, right.
It's true.
So I guess by default, like
I think they say no
726 years.
I think they actually say no one's ever won it.
No. They said no. They said no American. They said no American has won in 900 years.
But basically, the plot's pretty simple. The village.
It isn't though.
The country, well, the country, well, it's not. But
this is one convoluted fucking movie.
It is, but the country in question is supposedly located in this mountain region where
it's really hard to get to.
Someone puts a satellite station there, that being the Americans.
Yeah, that's what they want, right?
They want to put a Star Wars early warning satellite station.
That's why I have Star Wars written in my notes.
It's a strategic, and he's basically like, why don't you just invade, which is what anyone who asks watch this movie. I mean, that's how America would normally do it, or throw a coup or something and take over the place.
They would
or just put a Chuck E. Cheese and a
exactly. But they basically they're like, no, you need style and finesse to do this.
Yeah, so we're gonna send in a.
Oh, that's right.
Every country in the world, because if you win this so-called game, you're granted one wish by the Khan, who is the leader of the country, and he looks just like Mel Brooks, by the way.
I thought it.
By the way,
the old guy.
Yeah, the old dude.
I have a paragraph witten about him because he's my favorite thing in this movie.
Wonderful. He's wonderful.
I went through his IMDb. Yeah. That fucking guy, Buck Kartalian.
Really?
Yep. He died in 2016, but he has 76 IMDb credits. But he was in Planet of the Apes.
The original Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, you know who he is?
Nope.
He's the fucking gorilla holding the hose.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You never know.
It's a madhouse. It's like that's Kurt. That's
wow.
Kurt Kartalian.
Wow.
And he's the one who's making fun of Heston when he's gonna get his balls. They're gonna geld him.
Right.
He's like, if only you knew what they're gonna do. Like, but this guy is in fucking every TV show. He's a bodybuilder,
was he on Cheers?
Character actor. And then a really cool looking show called The Monster Squad from 1976, where he plays Bruce W. Wolf.
Oh,
anyways,
The Monster Squad.
The movie?
Not the movie. No, it was a TV show called The Monster Squad.
Weird.
Anyways,
you didn't know that?
Didn't know that. I only know of the movie, but yeah, they basically he'll grant you a wish. So every country in the world want to win this game. Right. They're training their top athletes.
But if you
enter the game, and then to get the wish. So I guess
good
Americans would put an early warning system.
So that's their wish, is to put an early warning system.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they just wish for like 10 more wishes so they could do a whole bunch of stuff?
He's not a genie. He's a goofy old man. It's like, could I have more goulash? That's probably the only wish that he could actually grant.
You can't actually grant it. Like,
can I marry your daughter?
Can I fly?
As much goulash as you want. In the trailer, it's great. They call it the game, but nobody wins and nobody lives.
Oh, that's a shitty game.
I know, until now.
Who wants to play that game?
Again, so is it that everyone just dies? Like, maybe no one's ever survived
You've seen how they play the game. As soon as you start doing something, they shoot you with arrows or they cut
the rope that you're fucking...
Or they light it on fire or something like that.
Yeah, or they strangle you down by the river.
The game is rigged.
Yeah.
I have written here, this movie looks like it's filmed, like someone gave a 5-year-old a camera and let him just start filming.
I said it was like it was written by a 10-year-old. And then they cut the rope, and the man falls. Yeah, and then they go to the village of the crazies.
That's like one of my all-time favorite scenes ever in any movie.
For the longest time, I thought this movie was set in North Africa. I thought it was like in Morocco.
No, this is definitely like a.
And then I thought it was set in Ohio because it looked like
Ohio.
I have written that. To me, it looks like it's like there's trees, there's streams. It looks like Middle America.
Oh, okay.
I visited Camden Town in the early '90s in the UK when I was a kid, and when I was in my early 20s, and when I came back from the trip and was describing what England was like to friends, I constantly referred to Camden Town as being similar to the Village of Crazies.
The Village of the Crazies? Well, it's very narrow cobblestones.
Yeah,
people just shouting stuff out the windows for no reason. Yeah. Packs of ravenous, flesh-eating dogs.
Yes, I'll tell you.
I don't know how many times I know.
There's so many ninjas in Camden Town.
But the ninjas, they don't do anything. They just stand around.
And they help you onto the roof if you're having a hard time.
They the flag and they point or something like that.
There's a great line where they're talking about Parmesan. So they're back at GYMKATA's house, and you see a photo of him next to his dad, and his dad's got a big old Sherlock Holmes pipe. And then the G-Man says to GYMKATA, Parmesan, blah, blah, blah. They want to join the 20th century. But it's 1985. So it's like 85 years too late to join the...
But they have a name for the youngins, the youth that want to join the 20th century. They're called the 20s. Because and they're ostracized because they want to join.
No, they're really into like flappers. All the girls,
right.
they're all like the Great Gatsby.
They're easing their way into the 20th century. They're not like rushing into it.
They get more information too, because although like the game, the actual course and stuff is top secret. For whatever reason, one of their operatives is this Khan's daughter, who's like the princess.
The princess.
Totally, yes, of course she's a princess.
Betraying the whole kingdom.
Well,
but Star Wars has a princess, so now...
I love the sort of little training montage.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, like somebody comes up and puts a noose around his neck and then karate chops him in the back.
Well, that's the princess.
That's the princess.
That's the princess.
Or how about the dude with the giant bird of prey?
The guy, he's just sitting there, for no reason, he's sitting there with a hawk. That's cool, but you know what would be better if it had like a big parrot. Or like a toucan, or like maybe a Wolverine or something on his arm.
Wolverine,
just something. Like, the hawk is so cliched, but it didn't do anything. He just sat. Like there was no reason for him to have a giant raptor on his arm.
And there's so many completely pointless sequences in this movie. He has to go up the stairs upside down, like on his hands.
Yep.
And they show you like 18 fucking times.
And they show him how to chop wood.
Yeah, but they tell him how to explain how to, rather than, hear the sound of the axe cutting the wood, you hear the axe cut the air.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
To him in a Ben Kenobi moment later in the film.
And he hits on the princess with a hilarious... I do a backflip and pretend to be you, and
that
then I
was
do a back.
Crazy.
Fucking painful to watch.
It was painful to watch. I'm like, if I'm
and
her,
then they bone. it works.
Well, if I'm her, I'm like backing away because she's gonna get kicked in the head as he's like doing these backflips.
Flip,
those things are tiring. And then as after the third one, he just walks over and just starts smooching with her.
Mm-hmm. But then she pulls out a switchblade.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, but I think that my favorite line in this movie is when they're talking about. The princess. She said she has an interesting background. Her mother is from Indonesia, and then that's it. That's her. That's all the background she gets. Is her mom's from Indonesia.
Well, I think they're also just badly trying to explain the fact because the actress playing her has very sort of exotic looks, whereas the dad looks.
But that's not interesting.
Well, it's not interesting.
It's mildly interesting.
It's not interesting.
If she had fought a bear, or she walked around with a beard of bees, that's interesting.
Oh, I know.
She's like from a place.
It's basically explaining the continuity error that she looks absolutely nothing like the dad, the actor playing the dad who looks more like Mel Brooks.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like a used car salesman.
Like an exotic.
But
he
looks like he should be selling shit on television at 2 a.m. with the crazy
I love the G-Man, by the way, who visits early on throughout.
Yes,
and gives him updates. Yeah, I love that guy.
He
comes in handy a little later.
It would be exhausting dating a gymnast.
Oh, he's just flipping around.
He's just always doing flips, trying to impress you. Whenever you have an argument, he just flips
around
and tries to be endearing. And it's just fuck off with your flips.
And then he's mocking you while he's doing it.
And then and you're never athletic enough for them.
Nope, never.
Could run a fucking marathon, he wouldn't care.
Yeah, and so after the flips, then they're in bed, and then you like this. If I remember correctly, maybe I don't, but there's a scene when you see he's kind of naked on top of her, and his back is just like a battlefield of acne, and it's awful. You could sand a chair on his back.
I didn't notice.
I did not notice.
I noticed these kind of things.
And that's because you have a high definition television.
Too much grain.
For better or for worse, that's for sure.
Oh wait.
Well, we should get this on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Like a Criterion. Lots of bows in. Okay, so then they go. Oh, I wrote Santa Hat thug.
I've got Santa hats written here too.
Yeah, but it's not. So they get in a boat and they go to some island, which isn't even the place they want to go. They go to some.
Well, it's weird because she's the princess, but they feel the need to break back into the country. Like, wouldn't she just go back there in a private jet?
She's the princess.
And also, how in a fucking motorboat? Like you get to New York Harbor, and then you're like motorboat to.
They're in a big like a rubber raft.
Really?
Okay.
Water raft. Yeah.
Which is better? Which is worse?
And there's a thug with a Santa hat, but it's actually just a white and red toque.
And then so they get to where they're going, and then the guy goes when the guy says to GYMKATA, he'll take your bags, and the bags are like so tiny. It's like maybe he has his underwear and his
speedos.
Yeah, speedos.
And his
hand
chalk.
Like take your own bag. Like they're like smaller than a gym bag. Like it's absurd. Just those little absurd moments that make me actually quite like it a lot.
And then he shows him a whole table full of useless gadgets, one of which is an axe. It's like, here's your super secret axe.
Well, isn't there like a knife that shoots?
And he's like, don't touch the... It's like it shoots the blade.
Yeah,
like,
I could kill a man for 20 feet.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else. And I don't think he even uses the axe or the fucking blade.
It's a really poor man's... who's the James Bond Q? Yeah.
It's utterly pointless.
30-minute running
Who's
time.
the guy with the ascot? Let's not forget him.
I've forgotten him.
I forgot him too.
You forgot him. Because there's a guy with an ascot who's like the main operative putting him into Burmistan, who somehow betrays our hero.
Right.
And tries to get him killed. And when he and the princess get back to the place where this ascot man is, his character's name slips.
John Ascot?
Not John Ascot, but he
Scott Ascot?
the mascot with the ascot. He
Scott
shows
the
up.
ascot mascot.
He shows up. And they show up at the place, and the guy basically is ready to betray them. He pulls a gun on them, and he's going to kill them. But then G-Man comes out of nowhere with a machine gun.
Right.
And then two other guys run into the room too.
Well, a lot of things happen in
And
this
he
movie.
blasts them too. Yeah, there's several attempts made on Jonathan Cabot's life.
And someone throws water in his face. They're like walking down the street. And he's like, "You are American!" Just like throws his drink in his face.
Yeah. Isn't the guy that throws the drink in his face? Doesn't that guy get an arrow in the back?
Oh, no, it's great because he gets cut off. He gets cut off mid sentence. So fucking GYMKATA gets a bunch of piss in the face or whatever, and then the other guy goes, "Don't worry, there's just a little anti-American sentiment running around."
Right.
But I think, and then all of a sudden he gets a spear in the stomach.
A spear. Okay.
These two CIA guys.
That was brilliant. And he's like, I have to think that he wants to be maybe a little inconspicuous in Parmesan.
Yeah, that's why he wore his mother's best red sweater.
Yeah,
but
it's
he
like his
runs
Christmas
after
sweater.
that guy who kills his
his
bodyguard with the spear. He chases him.
But he more prances than runs. He's a
of
gymnast,
course.
so he kind of like a little prancing pony going up the cobblestones. It's
And he bows.
A little
he's done.
deer.
And then there's this huge chase scene, which actually wasn't a terrible chase scene.
But this is the best part of the movie.
The Village of the Crazies is the best part. of the movie.
When he runs around the corner and then there's a gymnastics pole, like it's just
the
proper height.
Uneven parallel, or it's just the one pole.
It's just the one pole.
And he swings around, and they just keep running into his feet.
He keeps spinning, and they keep running into his feet. Yeah. And then the best part is when the local comes around the corner and he gets kicked in the head too.
Yeah, he gets like the baker or whatever.
And he goes, "Oh, sorry about that. You'll be all right." But like he's like basically killed the other guys doing the same thing. Why is this guy going to be all right?
This guy's not. Yeah, he keeps.
I laughed so hard when that happened.
They're basically running around the city. Next thing you know, they're on mules, and then they're in water rapid.
Yeah, they're in a white water raft.
They're white water rapid.
And then he gets clobbered and wakes up in bed.
Well, not yet. They travel into the kingdom on a white water raft. Pardon me. And they're greeted by a huge pack of what looks like ninjas.
Right.
And
a gaggle.
But yes, and basically...
It's a parliament of ninjas.
He actually says to the princess, "Are these your people?" She goes, "Yes, but so much has changed." So it's like, they must know she's royalty, but nonetheless they're out to kill her. First guy arrives, look like he's about to stab the raft, but instead it's like, someone screams out, "No! It's like not in the budget to destroy that prop."
Right.
So he decides not to stab it, and then... Yeah, and then he's
we only rented that, you idiot.
He's beaten by the ninjas eventually. He puts up a good fight.
I love the way the fight scenes are shot because he does a little gymnastics flip first, and then somebody comes at him, and then he hit him, or he'll do a little flip beside the guy, and then it's so terrible. Like there's no reason for him to incorporate gymnastics into his fighting, really, because it doesn't really do anything. It doesn't. He just like flips around.
Unless you come
like
across
tired.
One of those. What do they call them? Like
pommel horse.
If you come across a pommel horse,
which he might do in this movie, I don't know.
You never know. He gets knocked out by the ninjas, and he wakes up in a bed that is just covered in pillows.
That's right, and there's this
and he's naked,
and a really freaky kind of geisha drag queen.
Yeah. With the black eyes.
With black eyes and no tongue, according to...
That's right.
Yes. Whoever comes into the room.
Who's
the
exposition guy.
There's a guy...
Is she like wanking him off or something? There's a weird relationship.
I don't think she was quite wanking him off.
There was something wankish happening.
I think she liked him. I think she had eyes for GYMKATA.
They refer to the character as a he.
They do?
And I'm pretty sure they do because the evil guy, Samir, who's like the head of, I guess it would be like the con CIA, but he's also, according to the script, the traitor he's like the head of the CIA for this kingdom. And all the CIA agents are loyal to him, and they're going to overthrow the con.
I've lost the plot on this.
Zamir, he's
already.
the bearded.
Oh, I thought you meant
muscular
the weird wanker.
No, not the weirder, but Zamir comes into the room and explains that guy has no tongue.
But he's not the muscular guy that's betrothed to the princess.
He comes into the room and says about the person person has no tongue.
Okay.
But I'm sure they're referred to as a he, even though it's like an androgynous character.
Oh, all right.
That's unnecessarily strange.
It is unnecessary. But this whole movie is unnecessary and strange.
Part of
it doesn't know what kind of
part of its charm.
Like,
that's for sure.
What kind of movie is this? Is it a political fucking thriller? Is it a romance?
It's a little of that. It's a little of that.
Is it an
Neither
adventure?
It's all of the above.
Not really.
Blended together.
It's just like, look, we have a gymnast. He's not going to cost very much. We can call him an action star.
Right.
And, we'll get a pommel horse there, and he'll
do it.
People will repeatedly run at him.
One at a time.
One at a time. No one. And where's all those fucking arrows all of a sudden?
I know. Well, it's funny. After that terrible chase sequence, he murders. Or I guess I have it written here. He murders 3 guys, and he goes, "Well, that clears things up here." I'm like, "Well, no, I don't think that clears anything. He just murdered 3 people.
Who did he murder?
And they're fellow government agents with bad intentions.
Yeah, so no, you're not clearing anything by murdering more people.
I'd
say it has the exact opposite.
Yeah,
effect.
this is the guy who kills the guy with the. It's the G-man, the guy who recruits Jonathan Cabot. Yeah, he kills the guy with the ascot and then the 2 sidekicks. So basically says that cleans everything up here. But it's like he basically killed 3 government agents who weren't even necessarily corrupt, just didn't want to see this project through for whatever evil government reasons.
I'm glad you're here for this podcast because I have written in my notes so many times. What is going on here? I at least 5 times I wrote down. I didn't need to write it down.
I'm not saying any of this makes sense. I'm just saying this is some of the stuff.
Well, if they had just picked one fucking thing, I would have been way more on board.
Yeah.
If it had been like, okay, you're the only dude who can do this. We're gonna send you in there. He's trying to break into the country, and he's got a team, and they're in the woods, and they get ambushed, and his entire team gets killed. Now he's one man.
This sounds like GYMKATA too.
Like that, or it's what happened to my dad. Oh, it's illegal for Americans to even go there, and he finds a way to go there, and then he enters the game and he wins. Or it's a romance, but
you can incorporate all of that into
a best
but if you made it coherent, this is anything but. So my question is: was there an issue with his dad disappearing? Was that part?
I didn't even know that until the fucking end.
Yeah, his dad. I'm telling you, his dad, because it's explained when he first meets the guy who recruits him into the mission. The beginning montage is Cabot spinning around on the
horses running
or whatever.
Around,
but the horses are chasing the character of his dad.
Oh.
And then they shoot him with an arrow. And then they explain your dad was just participating in this game.
How often is this fucking game?
I think it's supposed to be, an annual thing.
Okay, well then if it's...
No, I mean, I'm not...
Maybe it's
but based on the timeline that's presented in this movie, it's like once a month they do this. Where it's like, well, the dad went missing, and all of a sudden the son shows up 2 weeks later, and he's in the game too. It's like, well...
That is what it's like, yeah.
But did his dad disappear when he was younger?
No, apparently not. I thought he did.
Okay, so the game is played every
and everyone seems to know about this fucking game.
Every Thursday it's played.
It's like the Hunger Games if it's real, and the whole world's just okay with it. Like, oh yeah, whatever, that game in Parmesan where they fucking chop people's fucking faces off.
That nobody can get to for some reason. And
you get chased by ravenous, flesh-eating dogs. Although was that part of the game? The Village of the Crazies wasn't... It
is part of the game, yes.
Well, I don't know.
Because then he shows up finally in another scene that borrows heavily from Enter the Dragon. They end up finally at this banquet, which is to kick off the game. He meets the other contestants, stuff like that. And he actually says to Khan at this point, "Your Excellency, what happened to my father? So-and-so, he was in the game, Cabot Sr." And then he says he was a very good warrior, but he didn't survive. But
because he got shot in the back with an arrow while running away.
The most cowardly game contestant ever.
You get a slight taste of the game, a preview look at the game because they send some recently released convicts.
I kind of like that
and
sequence.
They die
actually.
Instantly.
Is that when they're going across the ropes and they keep shooting them with arrows?
Yeah,
one guy's climbing.
He's like, we're gonna hunt these people for sport, and then
shitty.
tomorrow you're gonna do it. And so that was actually pretty hilarious because they start running and one guy just immediately trips and then they go over and just kick him.
They start kicking him in the gut.
Yeah.
It's a tough game.
At this point, Kurt Thomas, the a.k.a. GYMKATA, a.k.a. Jonathan Cabot,
Okay.
Says, is Thor going to be here?
Thor.
I thought I heard Thor and Superman.
It's Thorg.
And he turns out he's another Olympian that's being trained.
So
Apparently it's all Olympic athletes.
It wasn't actual like
Mary
Thor
Lou
from
Retton
Asgard then.
was murdered 5 years before this.
Yeah. And so was Nadia Comaneci. She was killed.
Yeah,
the year before.
and Greg Louganis. Because out of water, he's useless.
Yeah, he's like a fish out of water.
And he tends to hit him. Is he the one who hit himself in the head with this fucking...
With the diving board?
Yeah.
Horrible. But
So they have the big dinner, and so...
Thor shows up.
But then there's the...
Archie sends Munich. He tries to shake his hand.
What?
Yeah, he just totally ignores him.
Which Munich? What
Well,
year?
maybe, 72? Is that when the
infamous Munich.
Yeah, but he would have been like 4.
Yeah, you're right.
Something like that, yeah.
But Thorg, so Thorg is there, but then the star... They all love him. He just carries around a couple of weird throwing forks, and he throws them at the wall. And then GYMKATA has a chance to be all cool and go like, "Put your tools back in your pants" or whatever.
Oh, I love the scene when they're having dinner.
And Samir, by the way,
Yeah.
he's the head of
Samir.
He's the head of Parmestan's like CIA. He's
I
the
can't
one
take
throwing
that.
the
I
forks.
can't take that name seriously.
Gee, why not?
Gene
Parmesan?
Parmesan.
How can you not? Take that
Parmesan, I think is.
But I like the scene
yeah.
when they're having dinner at the
Yes.
big banquet, and was it Samir? And then he's like brooding, and the princess is like eye shifting.
It's announced that he's going to marry
well
the
have it
princess.
there.
Yeah,
at
and
the banquet.
then it cuts to GYMKATA in the corner. He's like sipping his wine, looking so sad.
Yeah, and he sees them. He sees them making eye contact, Samir, so he gets jealous.
And then Samir stands up, rips off his shirt at dinner, and starts throwing like forks and knives or whatever.
Yeah.
just narrowly missing
GYMKATA,
Argo's
yeah.
head.
But GYMKATA's not phased at all.
No, he's cool.
This kind of
as
shit
a
happens
cucumber.
all the time in the Olympics.
Yeah.
People throw knives at you.
Yeah.
They put your hand on the table and they do the knifey finger thing.
Yeah.
But then, okay, so the princess, I think at this point is still technically an abductee.
Oh, fuck,
and
I
so GYMKATA's like, meet me in the garden, and there's this big pointless scene where they meet in the garden, and a bit more exposition takes place.
Oh yeah, we forgot about that. Well, it's before they meet in the garden. He actually breaks her out of... He shows up, he wakes up in bed with that weird toothless person.
Yeah.
But then he asks, where is
I've
the
been there
princess?
so many
And
times.
being held hostage in some, like, mafia guy's mansion. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah. He's like a
goes and
fucking
breaks her
mobster.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like fucking Tomato Tony or whatever his name is.
A million things happening at once in this
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now we're getting a
Well,
little bit of
they're
Scarface.
stretching this plot out because the plot is really quite thin.
Yeah.
It's about him going and playing the stupid game,
Yeah.
which is like it's rigged against anybody that plays the game because they're either trying to shoot you, set dogs on you, or light you on fire. So you might as well have all these little subplots to keep the action humming along.
Whatever. So all of the criminals, they all get killed. I don't think anybody makes it past the cliff.
I don't know.
There's some awesome dummy action in this movie.
Yeah, well, they always hit the rocks when
Yep.
they fall. They never hit the water. They always hit the rocks right beside the water.
It's full on SCTV. It's so good.
Yeah,
and the screams.
Way back in the day when I was in college, I made a couple short films, and one of them was I went to the hospital parking garage, which was about five stories high, and we did like a little chase sequence, and it ended with someone getting hit by a car, and we made a dummy and threw it off the building. It was so awesome. But somebody saw it and called the police on us because we thought somebody was committing suicide or we murdered somebody. Pretty awesome, making a dummy and filming it and tossing it up a building. Awesome. It was great. Oh.
So the game starts, and GYMKATA...
Shitty game starts.
Like, what? Yeah, okay.
I don't even know what the purpose of the game is. What is the purpose of the game?
Well, the game is if you win it,
you get the wish, right?
So everybody,
the goulash.
okay, so everybody gets a wish.
And it's also
Get
mentioned.
me the fuck out of Parmesan.
It's mentioned not once but twice before. First of all, Gomez says something about, I heard you have to go through a village of crazies.
Who the fuck's Gomez?
Gomez is one of the other competitors.
All
He's
right.
like a Spanish-looking athlete.
Is he the guy in the red suit or the blue suit?
I don't remember which suit.
The
but he
windbreakers
actually
in this
says,
fucking
and then
movie.
it comes up at the dinner. Like, he mentions that to Jonathan Cabot during the training, and then during the dinner, Jonathan Cabot's like, yeah, what's this I hear that we have to go through a village of crazies? And Gomez replies, yeah, they've been sitting there criminally insane there for generations.
Right.
To this village.
Ooh,
like a lot.
They've been
there's
reproducing.
a disproportionately high number of, like,
crazy
homicidal maniacs.
Yeah. It's like Hamilton.
They're all in this medieval
I was going to say
village.
sorry, but Hamilton works.
Some random guy who's eating is like, yeah, there are a bunch of cannibals as he's like eating like a big turkey leg. Getting the audience primed for this village of crazies.
The audience being us. And so, do they end up in the village of crazies?
Not right away. It takes a while. There's many other obstacles along the route.
And yeah, it's been established that Princess Ribali has to marry the guy with the big pecs.
Yes. Zamir,
yes. I don't remember what happens next. You should probably tell us what happens next.
Well, the game starts.
Yeah. All right, they start the game, and one guy falls down, and they kick him in the face. But I think it was our hero, wasn't it? Wasn't it GYMKATA gets kicked because he falls down?
Yeah, he falls
down. And then, but they were going to kick him to death. But then Zamir, he said, "I want him." They run through a swamp a couple times.
Yeah, they basically reused sets.
And then they get to the point where they have to climb the rope. And so the guy ahead of GYMKATA climbs the rope, and they shoot him.
Someone shoots him in the back.
Which is explained earlier in the film when one of the criminals gets shot, that it's actually against the rules to do that.
Yeah.
But
like they're in the next phase of the game, and you can't attack him again until he gets to the top.
Why'd they do it then?
Yeah, why even have the rope?
And then so it's GYMKATA's turn to climb. But they don't shoot him. They set the rope on fire. Which would take, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours actually to burn.
Yeah, it's true. But it burns right behind him fast.
Yeah.
He outclimbs the burning rope faster than they outrun the Ice Age in Day After Tomorrow.
Oh, I love that in Day After Tomorrow.
Does. But here
comes the Ice Age.
And when he makes it to the top of the cliff, when he makes it to the top of the cliff, like seconds after he pulls himself onto the top of the cliff, the top of the rope is like an inferno.
And my question at this point is, why is GYMKATA wearing white pants? Like, that's terrible. Like, you're out in the
because if you die, they're going to get all brown.
Yeah, it's like
I never wear white pants for that reason.
White pants are a bad idea. Yeah.
Probably because I'm assuming his legs spinning around, kicking people would be more visible.
Is this where we get to the pommel horse in the middle of the square?
No, we're not there yet.
I have it written down. No, he comes across it. Because he runs into the square, he comes across it. It's just there's some flowers around it. It's like well,
at first there's the goat there.
Oh yeah.
But he's not in the village yet. He's still there's
crazy.
There's plenty of goodness going on. He hasn't gotten there yet. Like competitors in the game are fighting and stuff. Like Thor kills.
He strangles Mal. I think his name is.
Didn't catch his name, but he's like he's an Asian athlete. They don't say where he's from specifically.
Asia.
And, somewhere in Asia. And he ends up fighting this Thor guy. Thor kills him.
He strangles him. Yeah, he strangles him down by the river.
Well, I know we talk about this a lot on this podcast. If you show a pommel horse in the first scene...
Yeah, that's...
Chekhov. You have to use the pommel horse in the third act.
That's
right.
It's true.
So,
but
we're not there yet, though.
Okay.
At the village
we've established that there's a pommel horse in the square of Crazy Town.
He fights Thorg, though, before he gets to Crazy Town.
Does
Would
he?
you take me to?
Yeah.
Oh, he fights him, and then he doesn't even beat him because someone shoots Thorg with an arrow.
These cowardly ninja KKK guys who are always hiding.
The Luke used the Force moment because he hears the guy from earlier in the movie say, don't listen to the axe chop the wood, listen to the axe chop the air, and he hears the sound of the arrow.
Oh.
Come on, so he moves out of the way, and it hits the Thor guy.
That's good reflexes.
Presumably kills him.
Well,
there's a great moment where they do the old switcheroo, which I love, which is he goes, ugh, and he jumps behind a tree, and then all of a sudden there's all these arrows.
The trees are full of arrows.
And then he comes out from behind the tree. But
fooled you
can clearly see the edit. It must have been later in the day because it's actually darker. Like the whole
and there were no leaves on the tree because they filmed
That's
it.
right. Yes.
They had to come back and
he's got a big beard when he comes up from behind the tree.
And he's a woman.
Yeah, and Clinton's the president. Okay, so then whatever, he sort of fights Thorg, kind of, and then Thorg has a really long, drawn out death. Actually, he like rides around he gets shot with an arrow, and then he
rolls down a hill.
Yeah.
Again,
you think that's the end of it, but it's not. He comes back a bit later. He's tough.
Did somebody cut his own hand off?
Yeah, there's lots of ropes and dummies and fucking arrows and all that.
People falling to their death.
So then he says something to. Oh yeah, by the way, there's like ninjas. So stationed, holding weird flags.
Yeah, I know. Oh, this was a flag.
That's right.
It's true.
The helpful ninja.
You know, what's really weird is, for no reason, before Thor gets killed, presumably with the arrow, when he kills the Asian competitor, the ninja guy lowers his flag, like for some reason.
Out of respect.
No, I don't know what it is. But anyway, so okay, let's just get forward to the
so then GYMKATA says to one of the ninjas, he's like, a lot of good you are, blah blah blah, or whatever.
Right.
And then he runs up to the village of the crazies,
which is up on a hill.
Up on a
it's
hill.
a medieval walled-in village.
Right.
And I was recently in Romania. It's not entirely unlike.
I've been to Romania.
Yeah, it kind of has that.
That's
what I kept thinking.
Although
like,
I was only in
Romania.
I was only in Bucharest. That's
Yeah,
the capital of Romania. I
That's
was only in
Bucharest.
Bucharest. So.
Yeah, port.
I was also in Transylvania. We went to the Braun Castle, which is reportedly, Vlad the Impaler's.
Yeah.
I apparently only spent a few nights there in real life, but it's a tourist attraction thing. We were there for Halloween, actually.
Well,
as far as I'm
That's pretty
concerned,
cool.
the biggest tourist attraction in the world should be wherever they film the Village of Crazies scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
In
want
Yugoslavia.
to go to that village.
Well, the
Exactly.
crazies aren't there.
You'd fit right in.
That's kind of a disappointment, but you could sell like mugs and stuff.
From
Like an
GYMKATA.
audio recording, yeah.
But if you could design a mug from the Village of the Crazies, what would you put on it?
Oh no, the handle would be on the inside because it's
I'd have
crazy.
2 handles like a pommel horse, but for sure.
So it's like a giant sippy cup.
Yeah, I would. And
Yeah.
by the way, I just want to give for this scene the amazing heads up to the amazing sound design. Like it sounds like records
amazing.
being played on the wrong speed and the whole
Yeah.
like the
Okay.
crazy laugh.
Can we talk about the
cat
Foley?
sounds and
By the way, the most completely overwhelmingly bad stigmatization of mental health in like an 80s. But it's this, medieval village. He reaches it. He gets inside. The bars close behind him.
Right.
And then it's a
it's
free-for-all.
crazy town.
Him against,
I have to say, my favorite guy in this was the guy with the face on the back of his head. Remember that guy?
Well, my favorite guy is...
Well,
he fights all these people. He's going through the village. And he's one of my all-time favorite characters in any movie, period.
Wow.
This guy who looks like he's some older, wiser guy who's going to help our hero, and he steps out of a doorway and starts waving to him. He's going to give him some great wisdom, and he follows him, and Cabot fights the two-faced guy as well, the guy with the 2 faces.
Which is awesome.
But, which is awesome.
Who
Beats
thought of
that
that?
guy.
I
The guy
love that
chops his
shit.
own hand off, too.
Right.
That's great. The guy's beckoning to him, very distinct monk-like looking person in robes. And he starts approaching him like he's going to help him. And then the guy turns around and the ass is cut out of the robe. Like it's this total, like, the back and the ass is cut out.
was I the only? You guys ever see Monty Python live at the Hollywood Bowl?
Yes, I have
And they
seen
"Sit on My Face."
Yes.
And barbershop quartet, "Sit on my face and tell me that you love me." And then they all turn and then their asses.
Wow.
I was just like, they stole that from Monty Python.
They could have, yeah. And by the way, one time when I saw this movie, like I saw it that time as a kid. Another time, for some reason, in high school, me in a rec room full of like fellow teenage.
You must have been from back east because they don't have rec rooms.
Yeah, we're sitting there and we're watching GYMKATA yet again. For some reason, we're watching.
That's all you
But
watch.
the guy who was hosting this party was taking it really seriously and was getting pissed off when we laughed at it.
Really?
And I remember after that scene happened,
maybe his dad died during the
he's still in
competition.
trouble trying to fight his way out. I remember this smart ass guy used to say, Matt, he just goes out of the blue. I would have went with the guy with the ass. And then like the room just erupted. And then our host got even more mad that we weren't taking this.
Everyone get out of here.
Yeah, get out. Yeah.
This isn't a documentary.
And the guy chops his hand off too.
Yeah, okay, so
Definitely hand
like
off.
as soon as the gate closes, it turns into the Company of Wolves.
Yeah.
The tone is suddenly.
Yeah,
You ever
like
see
an
the Company
I've
of Wolves?
Yes.
seen it.
It's like an arty, like
Neil Jordan.
Yeah.
Neil Jordan. I think it was his first film. No, but then it's like this weird shutter effect, and everything takes fucking way too
Slow
long.
Way too long,
motion,
yeah.
And it's like if someone's drinking water, you hear the slurping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're trying to emphasize that it's
The
a crazy
Foley in
town.
this whole movie is ridiculous. Every time they take a step, you have to hear the. They went so overboard with the fucking sound effects until there's a big fight scene, and then everybody gets the same punch sound effect, which is the frozen turkey being dropped on the floor.
Yeah, it's funny.
I like the Janus Janus films. The two-headed guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I like that. But then the fifth time they fucking showed it.
Oh, I like the two-headed guy.
Also, there's
actually,
a guy.
I have a little funny aside about that noise. I made a kung fu movie a long time ago too, and I used that sound effect for all the kung fu sounds.
The GYMKATA sound.
Yeah, yeah.
In the Village of Crazies include him being approached and almost fondled by a bunch of like women in robes. He hits one of them and they all turn their backs to the wall.
Well, he beats up a whole bunch of old hags.
Then the rest all leave him alone once it's in it. And also, Thorg reappears in the Village of Crazies. He basically starts chasing Cabot, and basically he's chasing Cabot while being chased by angry villagers with pitchforks.
Right.
and Cabot gets away out the window, but the
Oh,
Thorg
yeah,
is
the
trapped
pigs.
in a room full of pigs.
Oh, the pigs.
The villagers stab him with the pitchforks, and then the pigs start feasting on him.
And he runs.
Nice.
Was I crazy, or does he run across the top of the pigs?
Jonathan does.
Both.
Yeah.
But
Pigs
you are
and
crazy, and that happened. Yes.
And then it was hilarious. Is Thorg is coming at him, and then Gymkata is trying to climb through the window,
Yeah.
and Thorg is maybe 2 feet away, and he's just kind of like limply putting his hand out, like I can't. You know, like when you're playing tag with a 5-year-old, and you're like, "Oh, I can't reach you."
Yeah,
Just fucking reshoot it, so that like he gets through the window, and then Thorg.
Well,
This is an Ed Wood special, man.
It's funny. I watched this little video of Putin playing hockey, and he scored 10 goals in one game.
Really? Is that
But
normal?
But no, it's not. But
yeah.
you just watch him skating, and nobody's checking him. The goalie like pretends to try and save it because no one's gonna check him or save the. Because they'll be executed.
Of course, there's huge photos of like hanging defensemen
all around the stadium.
all been garroted. Like this is a reminder.
Yeah.
Well, what I've heard is when Putin really wants to win. When he really wants to win hockey, he just says, "Think of the Village of Crazies in GYMKATA."
Yeah, that'll be it.
I will say that's where I was born.
I have written down here: punches a few old hags and an old dude. So I guess he beat up an old man as well.
And why does the guy chop his hand off?
I don't know.
Was that he couldn't get his hand off the pole?
I don't know.
No, he's just he attacks Jonathan Cabot with like a sickle, and then basically grabs
but then
grabs the pole and can't move his own hand.
He grabs like a drainage pipe, and then he starts going, and then he pulls out his fucking scythe.
Because he's crazy.
And he chops his own hand off.
He's crazy.
No, but like, was the suggestion that it was like so hot that his hand was burned to it or something?
Why did he grab it in the first place?
Why didn't he let it go?
Yeah, let it go then, you idiot. The centerpiece?
The iconic image is the pommel horse.
Centerpiece.
Where he's surrounded in the town square and the crazies. Oh, and people are leaning out the window and just making weird noises like.
This is now it's turning into like Wicker Man. This is what it kind of
reminds me of King of Hearts too. That French film.
I know the one you're talking about, but I've never seen it.
Also set in like a village of lunatics.
Crazy.
not as effectively rendered as those in.
So then he pommel horses everybody and whatever. It's like G.I. Joe. They just keep running at him. Not all at once, you fools. One at a time. Yeah. And how long could he have kept that up? 10 minutes tops.
That's a long time.
Just wait for him to run out of energy, and then just
all you need is just stand around, just out of leg kicking distance, and just let him do his thing. And so he's like, and then you go like stab him.
Like put out an axe, and then his leg comes along and chop his foot off or something.
Yeah. Flaming arrow.
So all of a sudden, he's being chased by like really scary dogs.
Yeah, and everyone's moving slowly after him.
It's all slow motion.
Yeah, and then he shimmies up this alley because he's trying to get to like a window, and he makes it 98% of the way up, and he's there. Like he's there. He's already gone up 98% of the way, but he can't get through the little bar window. Why don't you just fucking climb onto the roof?
I don't know.
Instead, he just takes a little break.
He takes a break. He's looking down at the dogs barking, and the villagers waiting with the pitchforks, and then a ninja strolls. He's one of these mysterious ninja
that actually don't have any skills,
and lands a hand, reaches out to him, and pulls him onto the roof,
and pulls him up, and
pulls off the hood and reveals himself as
and he says Dad, and that's when I fell off my sofa laughing so fucking hard.
The father you see die from a horrible arrow. Pay a little bit more attention to GYMKATA.
Okay, admittedly, I watched this in 2 chunks. I watched it like 6 days ago for about 40 minutes, and then I watched it about 3 hours ago for about 40 minutes. Sort of paying attention. Anyways. And it's his dad, and then they have this nice little conversation while there's ravening, slobbering dogs going for maybe leave the village of the crazies.
Well, they
before
do
you have
leave it. They say we can get over the wall from this roof, but what's great is they do another one of those ridiculous explanations, like earlier in the film, where her mother's Indonesian, like to explain some glaring continuity problem, because in the beginning you see
that's what makes it interesting.
Like the father dies in the beginning of the movie. You think he dies because he's going across a gorge on the rope and gets shot with an arrow.
But they don't show him smacking against the rocks.
No, they just show him fall. But then it cuts to so you even forget maybe that's what happened. But
I did.
Now that he's walking with the son, he's explaining. Someone's like, explain that part earlier in the movie. He goes, oh, yeah, and when I fell, a tree broke my fall. And then I lowered myself into the river and swam away. Like, he explains how.
And then I never left this shithole country. And I didn't realize that he got hit with an arrow earlier in the film.
He is.
Because then it's like, It's like, Dad, you're so great. And they get away from the Village of the Crazies, and he's immediately hit by an arrow in the back.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the movie, when it's all happy, and the princess
town.
and the dad's still got the fucking arrow in his back. I couldn't tell if he was dead or not. I'm like, wait a minute.
No.
But if he's alive, I watched that scene like 4 times. Like,
Our favorite thing, it's
Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
Right.
I don't think that really counts.
Which I can never.
That doesn't count.
Well,
no, Deus Ex Machina is when like something random happens out of the blue, just for the sake of saving.
You mean like the dad who's been presumed dead for years shows up?
But yeah, so Dad's still got a fucking arrow in his back. So either he's dead and they brought him back, and it's like, yay, the big happy scene with the dead dad right there.
I thought the dead dad looked like Harold Gould. I thought, is that Harold Gould?
I don't know who Harold Gould is.
He's like an old timey. You don't know who Harold Gould is.
I don't think so.
Are
you accusing me of lying to you about my knowledge of Harold Gould?
I am. He was a funny man from back in the day, like 70s, 60s, 70s. He was in movies and things.
I don't know who Harold Gould is.
Alex would know.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. But there's a scene. Okay, so it's like, Dad, and then arrow in the back gets an arrow in the back. And then that's interspersed with, oh yeah, there's this other character, the romantic lead. We haven't seen her for about fucking 35 minutes.
The
princess. And she suddenly has this line in the sand conversation with her father going like, you're a prisoner in your own palace. That's what she says. And then he goes, not true. Like, it's the worst line to
She actually, and I love it because this is one of my favorite moments of the movie. She's wearing like some kind of like princess-like robe. She suddenly says, the American is our only hope. I will help him. She pulls it off, and she's wearing, like, a zip-up leather. Or like
an Emma Peel outfit.
Yeah, like an Emma Peel zip-up leather outfit. And
so she's a super spy.
And she's
very
like
exotic.
a kick-ass.
It's from Indonesia.
And she becomes a kick-ass action star. All of a sudden, she can...
Oh, yeah. And they run down the stairs, and there's more ninjas, and she just kicks a guy in the face when she's running down the stairs.
And she and the father, the Khan, pulls out like a big
massive sword.
And he's yelling like, traitor, to anyone who blocks it, and he's killing them.
He's like chopping heads off.
She's in this incredible leather bodysuit doing like kicks.
I think I might have fallen asleep for this.
So they start like an uprising just like that.
Wow.
Like they burst out
the
of the public square.
revolution has begun.
So Dad's got an arrow in the back. That's the name of my new one-man show. And so then GYMKATA gets into a fight with
funny
Blondie.
and sad at the same time. You like that one? That one's alright.
I think I like it. I don't know. I can't. I mean, Bomber does a good job. It's just hops.
Yeah, I understand. Flavor, you mean?
So then, Beardy, the fucking, I don't know, he's like a GQ model or whatever. Once again, comes at GYMKATA with another. It's always a curved fucking sword. It's like
almost like a scythe. I always thought that would be a really bad weapon because you have to get really close. And you have to sort of like get behind them or something like that.
You know who uses those well? You ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I've seen.
Yeah, the Dothraki.
Yeah.
They've got the crazy fucking sides, but they're also like nuts, and they work out.
Yeah, but they do work out. But you also never really see them do much. You see them ride and yell at people and then jump off their horses.
Fucking slaughter. So Beardy and GYMKATA are in a sort of a sword fight, and GYMKATA picks up like a stick. And they're having like a sword fight with like a fucking sword and a stick.
Right. Well, he's good with sticks though.
And then, kind of. But I guess in a pinch you grab a stick against a sword. But the sword cuts the stick.
It's better than not having a stick.
GYMKATA falls down. Guy runs at him with the fucking sword. GYMKATA rolls over, and the sword goes into the ground.
Right.
And then they start like having a good old fashioned fisticuffs or whatever. And then GYMKATA tries to get the sword, but he can't get it out of the ground.
Right. Well, because he put it in the ground so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what I thought was going to happen is they were going to wind up on the ground rolling around, and GYMKATA was going to like throw him against the sword that was stuck in the ground.
That'd be a little predictable.
But he doesn't do that. No, it would have been cool. It would have been something. But instead, I can't even remember how the fucking bad guy dies. I think, does he fall off a cliff?
I don't know. The notes I have ended a long time ago. It ended with what the fuck just happened.
So then, the king thwarts the uprising, even though it's not really an uprising because
he comes out and announces to the villagers, Zamir's men are traitors, kill them. And then all the villagers who seen the kingdom is like these savage. The way the villagers are portrayed, like the people of this country of pharmacy, and the way they're portrayed in the film is like they're just bloodthirsty. They want to. I know. Yeah. They go crazy and
don't let them in with the rest of the world.
And they want to wank people off with their tongues cut out in beds of pillows.
They kill Samir and
the king Mel Brooks is like, yay, you're allowed to marry the American guy or whatever.
Well, they don't even get that far. They just ride into town. The princess.
Yeah. And the dad with the arrow still sticking in his back, which remains one of the funniest things. Why does he still have the? Why either even if he's dead, take the arrow out. But
why, if he's dead, why take the arrow out? Maybe you might need it later on. There's always that thing. Do you pull the knife out or the sword or the pipe or whatever's sticking in your body?
It just
or
looks
do you leave
ridiculous.
it in there before you get to the hospital? I don't know.
When there's a guy on horseback
with an arrow
sticking out of his back. You see GYMKATA in Indonesia, and they don't even kiss. They're just smiling, and it freeze frames, and these words come up on the screen. In 1985, the first early warning Earth station was placed in Parmistan for the U.S. Star Wars defense program.
That's why I wrote Star Wars.
No, but that's the happy ending. Like they don't say anything about like GYMKATA went on to have little baby GYMKATAs or whatever.
No. Or the father survived.
But it's also funny because the Star Wars program was never actually put into.
No,
it didn't actually do anything.
So all for naught.
I know.
GYMKATA, you're an idiot.
Way to go, GYMKATA. You got like suckered.
And I love the extras. I'm convinced one guy is just wanking. If you watch, there's a guy wearing a purple toque. If you're watching this at home,
a purple toque.
At the very end, there's a dude who's standing right next to the king, and he's wearing a purple toque.
He's masturbating,
and he's just doing the wank movement. That's
it. Like when you say you're doing it by the side of
everyone's
your head.
cheering and waving their arms, and he's just jerking off.
He's like, I know this movie is and he's
awesome,
but and also that friend I mentioned earlier on the podcast, Ben,
Bobby Orr.
No, Ben, the other guy who watched it years after I
Ben
recommended
Kenobi.
it to him. Actually, he gave a special shout out to the guy with the assless monk robe. He said if he weren't a respectable family man these days, he would go out as the assless monk robe guy on Halloween.
What is that? I don't see the connection, man.
Because the guy he would stand and
no. I mean, like being a family man and going as assless monk guy.
Because you always go out as an assless monk robe guy.
Yeah, you don't even wear the robe.
You're a respectable family man.
It's actually it's frontal. It's full frontal.
Oh. Well, that's often how you becken customers to the store. You wave them over, and people are like coming to rent, like okay, and they start walking over, and then you turn around.
Hey, let's go rent movies off that monk.
Does that guy just walk around the Village of the Crazies all day in that outfit, waiting for American gymnasts to show up? And because he's beckoning him, and then he goes into the building. So what was going to happen in that building?
What was he expecting?
God knows. He goes into the building.
He sits on the couch. He leaves a gross ass. Right?
Well, so it's a leather couch, so it's always got the ass grease.
He's just like, please, did you bring underwear from America?
Would that outfit look worse with underwear on, or would it look?
It would look better with the two-headed mask.
I think if it was like boxer shorts, and it'd be great, boxer shorts, and then like sock suspenders.
Yeah. Has anyone ever actually worn sock suspenders? Is that an actual thing?
I'm wearing them right
play
now.
I was just recently in, one character ends up taking his suit off and he's wearing sock suspenders.
Really? I auditioned for that role.
And that's
I'm so fucking annoyed I didn't get into that play. Everyone else is in Gus is in a play. You're in a play. You were probably in a fucking play. I didn't get to be in a play this week.
Wow. I'm sorry, man.
I want to do GYMKATA as a play.
That would be
one-man GYMKATA. I would love to see you on a pommel horse, or uneven parallel bars, powdering up your hands.
Yeah,
I'd wave to myself, and then I'd be like walking over, and then I'd go.
I'd
do like John and Kevin does a flip. Like, here I am, I'm walking over for help, you're waving at me, and then I flip. And then you turn around and your ass is...
If you were playing GYMKATA, I would go see that play.
More than once during this podcast, your eyes have lit up while you're describing GYMKATA. And I think it's because you're sort of regressing into childhood and going, and then? Like,
in a way, I am.
You're really happy to be talking about
It takes me back
GYMKATA.
to a great movie night. It really does.
It's Bobby Orr.
Anyways, okay, so wrap it up.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the man with the plan, who picked GYMKATA, Alex.
It absolutely entertains me as much as it ever did. I love this movie, and I have a niece and nephew who are like sweet kids in other provinces. Right. Yeah, they're right over there.
They're in the back room.
They're right in the back room. Yeah, but I'm going to make them watch. No, I'm going to send them copies of this movie.
Good.
I love this movie. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I know it's ludicrous and ridiculous, but it's like anytime I've recommended it to customers over the years, like of course they come back and say it's awful, but they also say they loved it, right?
Now, has it ever come up that it was This movie was ranked 17th worst movie ever made by Maxim magazine.
I'm aware.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
Maxim, the height
Maxim,
of
yeah.
cultural rankings.
Well, here's the other thing.
I
but
hate to
you know
know
what I
the
want to
number
say
one
in
is, like,
response to that, though?
Cheerleader High is probably
Is
the number
that-
one movie.
No, it
When
isn't
we
actually.
first opened here, like 2005, this location, I remember constantly talking back then with Josie and other people who were still working here back then. I would always bring up GYMKATA. I wish this movie, because when we opened in
I remember
2005,
people really getting
DVD
tired of
releases
you
were
talking about
still a really. I mean, nowadays, it was like a hotly anticipated event, especially in that era when like movies that hadn't seen the light of day in 30 years
Yep.
or whatever were coming out. I read about it, and it's still linked to the Wikipedia article about this film today, but I read about it back then, around 2007, MGM. That's right, the great MGM B movie. We're talking the MGM, the Roaring Lion Company.
I know who they are.
Produced this film, and they created this film. What I love about it is that they held a poll around 2006, 2007.
Did they let him go?
Out in the public there, like, what MGM classics do you want to see us re-release? Like, you're expecting the greatest masterworks come out, and they actually said one of the highest voted on movies. The president at the time was like, I'm shocked this gymnastics kung fu movie.
Never heard of it.
Overgone with the
The
Wind.
mid-'80s, people are demanding its release, and I remember doing a little jump for joy back then. Like,
Did
when
you
I
actually
read that interview, and I did a little.
Did you actually do like a
I did.
physical jump
Like,
for joy?
I so want to
One of
see.
these, like, just like that, not quite GYMKATA level, but I did a hop. I'm like,
There was some
Get
joy
this
in it.
man a
film.
pommel horse.
this film
It's
is
more of a
coming
happy
out on
hop than a jump for
DVD.
joy.
And when we first got it in, I was like, yeah. And I'll never forget the first customer I ever recommended it to. We were also friends. This woman, Alexis, used to rent here. She texted me, but GYMKATA rocks as soon as she watched it, yeah. Voters can't be wrong.
But to put
If
it
they wanted see it.
into context, though, 17th worst movie voted
Maxim.
out of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of 50.
Number 16
What the fuck?
is a bit of a shocker.
Forrest Gump.
I like Forrest Gump. Anyways, no, number 16, The Thin Red Line. Isn't
Really?
that kind of weird?
Didn't realize it's a great movie.
It is not.
It is.
No,
It
isn't.
is.
But
It
it's
is.
it's certainly not the 16th worst movie ever made.
No. This is done by a bunch of fucking like baseball cap backwards wearing frat boys who don't know anything about anything. It's fucking Maxim. Anyways, Dylan, what did you think of this movie? What is your final thoughts or whatever the fuck we call it?
The first half I did not like at all, and then the second half kind of grew on me.
Oh.
I don't know. It's got a certain charm, right?
Yeah.
You got the pommel horse. You got the. In fact, I would have liked to have seen some more gymnastics, but there's only two. Like, there's only two. Something I've never said in my life ever. I really like the bit when he's swinging around the bar in the alley,
Oh, I
and I
love
really like
that.
the pommel horse.
Yeah.
But that was it for gymnastics. I mean, he climbs the wall and shit. The big deal. I would recommend it, although okay, yeah, sure,
No, it's entertaining.
Sure, it's
Come on,
entertaining.
it's entertaining.
it's an entertaining movie.
All right, well, I will give my 2 cents. I started watching it. After, as I said, I was into my cups. I had a few drinks. 5 minutes in, my wife had gone to bed, and I texted her. I said, "I'm 5 minutes in. This is like the worst thing I've ever
You
seen."
texted her in bed?
Yeah, and then 10 minutes later, I like, this is awesome. So I actually ended up loving this movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, I loved it because I love these kind of terrible, great films. And also could think about is I got to watch this with my kid. He's going to love it. I would highly recommend it.
How come on?
Oh.
You wouldn't highly recommend
Highly recommend this movie to a certain crowd
Yeah.
that are looking for a certain
Okay,
thing.
yes. I was going to say in which context?
Yes.
Not just any customer.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Like, this
it's-
isn't a situation like this or Sophie's Choice kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know the mood they're going for.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
But anyone who likes culty or weird films,
Is that your
I've
thing?
never had a dissatisfied customer with GYMKATA all these years.
No,
I
there you
just
go.
haven't.
Alex, it is Monday here at Black Dog Video
Yeah.
on Commercial Drive, also on Canby Street. Monday is 2 for 1. Customer brings GYMKATA up to the counter.
3 possible pairings.
No, okay.
And they're all far superior. Either
He's going to pick all of ours.
no,
Yeah,
either
probably.
Enter the Dragon.
No, there's mine.
Sophie's Choice.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, Sophie's Choice.
Either Enter the Dragon,
Oh.
the King of Hearts movie, which I just mentioned,
Uh-huh.
the 60s one,
Playing
or
with the king.
The Most Dangerous Game,
I almost went
which is a complete masterpiece about the similar,
Like
like,
the,
a hunting
like
humans
the,
kind
like
of
the
movie.
1936.
But we don't-
It's from the
whatever.
30s. We
Yeah.
do have it.
We have the most
Yeah,
dangerous
we have
game.
it. It's a masterpiece.
It's on Criterion.
We have it on Criterion.
Yeah.
It was filmed by the same crew who made King Kong simultaneously, like Fay Ray's in it and stuff.
Oh, I've never seen Most Dangerous Game.
Oh, masterpiece.
We read the story in high school.
Oh, yeah, and yeah, it's based on the classic story, which is this one's ripping off and stuff. It would be one of those three, but what I do find interesting is that Robert Klaus is responsible for. Like, I love GYMKATA, but I'm just going to flat out say this. Like, Robert Klaus made Enter the Dragon, which is like a genuinely amazing, brilliant film.
Yeah.
Best of the genre.
Yeah.
And this is one of the absolute worst of the genre. No less entertaining. I think it's as entertaining as Enter the Dragon, but it completely doesn't do it in the same way.
But that's why it's a great double bill.
That's why it'd be a great double bill, and it does show that theory that, in fact, Bruce Lee is most likely the director of Enter the Dragon, rather than...
Except he didn't do any of the...
Either that, or at least,
oversee the costume
at least proves
design
the point that if it's all up to the star...
He just kicked people,
I think we can,
and you're calling him a director.
I think we can agree that, like, Kurt Thomas just isn't as good as a director as Bruce Lee.
I think we could all agree on that.
So I don't know. I can't tell the difference between Kurt Thomas and Bruce Lee.
No? Well, they're both relatively
Can
short.
Bruce Lee go on a pommel horse? Probably, actually.
Probably,
There's
yeah.
very little Bruce Lee. Well, now that he's dead, he can't really do much.
No, it's just a skeleton going on.
So is it me for two?
Yeah, go ahead.
Team America, World Police. That is the movie I thought of the most while watching this.
Hey, that's actually a really good...
I can see that.
Don't act so surprised. I kept thinking, this is Team America. It's the same fucking story. It's like, instead of a gymnast, it's an actor.
Or a puppet.
They even, but it's all puppets. They meet backstage. That scene when he tells, at the very beginning, when GYMKATA is going into the change room, and Buddy like stops the woman. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Is he like going to come onto him or some shit? But this is exactly what happens in Team America. They go to a foreign country
that doesn't exist.
Well, North Korea does exist, but
is that where they went?
Team America, they go to North Korea.
There's a North Korea?
It's Team America, World Police, because I actually think if you watch these two back to back, it would be a really good double bill.
No.
If we don't have Team America, World Police, then Mortal Kombat is a very similar film.
We do have Team America. You mean like if somebody's rented it?
Someone's rented it,
right.
And on to you, Mr. D.
Well, my original pick was Enter the Dragon, just because just because of the same structure. You know, going to a foreign land and fighting your way through this and that. And I did not know it was directed by the same guy, which sort of basically ties it all in.
Yes.
But I will defer. I was going to say, I would throw the Wicker Man in there as a good double pill.
Really?
Yeah. It's the guy goes to an island, and he's got it's a bunch of crazies, and it's a weird town, and they're all against him.
Which one, the Nicolas Cage or the original? Either one.
Well, I would say the original, but because Dylan's in the remake,
once I didn't have to say it.
I think I'm going to go with the remake.
I am actually in the remake.
Yeah, because it'd be a great bad movie pairing for the whole night.
I just found out one of the servers over at the Charlatan is
Cassidy, when she was very young, played.
Oh,
yeah. Should we be naming names?
Well, you can edit that out. We'll ask her later when we go for links. Do you mind that we mentioned you?
I would say that I can't even believe I'm saying this, but the Nicolas Cage remake. Directed by
Neil Jordan.
It's not Neil
LaBute.
Neil
LaBute, right.
Is definitely more tonally in.
Please don't say better.
No, God, no. But for this pairing, absolutely, it's a better because it's such a terrible film.
Yeah, that's a fun pairing.
Whereas you would kind of ruin the original Wicker Man by watching it with GYMKATA.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of a weird.
It would never
when you actually say the two movies in the same sentence.
Yeah, like one of the greatest British psychological thrillers of all time, and then a movie about a gymnast
going to Parmesan land.
Go to Parmesan.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee turns around in an assless robe,
Yeah, with a head on his.
By the way, I want to do a rare emotional appeal. To the public at the end of this.
Okay, well, lay it on us, my friend. Lay it on us.
Dead serious. I know it's a 1,000,001 chance, but Darren, I love the fact how you once reviewed Face Off, the hockey movie, on another podcast. The star, sorry, what was his name again? The Canadian actor, Art Hindle, heard it and was deeply hurt by your views.
Yes,
as I am going to expose that on camera.
I still feel bad about that.
But here's the thing. If by some 1,000,001 chance Kurt Thomas, the star of this film, still alive, hears this podcast, I want to tell him, stop not talking about this movie. Embrace this movie.
Yeah.
Even if you're embarrassed by this movie, this is one of the most entertaining films ever made, despite the fact that it doesn't do it on the level that the makers wanted it to.
You're just trying to get him to the Rio.
That too.
Oh,
but
or
Kurt
his house for
Thomas,
some beers.
if I were in a movie this bad and I had, he's got his side career, he's still making money from the world of gymnastics, he's an announcer and stuff, it's like, God's sakes, man, tour this movie. You could make so much money on publicity appearances. Well, and this film is wonderful.
And
really
and I also want to piggyback on that because
Kurt has brought a lot of joy to people.
So Kurt, you're listening.
Especially you.
Kurt, you are listening to this movie, and I will say this, Kurt Thomas. In my honest opinion, you are not the problem with this movie. In fact, I think you did as good a performance as a gymnast could do.
Yeah.
All things considered. I mean, okay, seriously, you clearly had never been on camera before, unless it was some kind of sports camera, or maybe you did some Wheaties ads. I don't fucking know. But wasn't terrible. In fact,
he's at least photogenic.
He scaled the walls and all of that shit.
He did his own stunts. I respect that.
Like the acting, but he wasn't really given much to do. And what he was given to do, he did very well.
Was he in charge of his own
You didn't
wardrobe?
write the script. The problem with this movie is the fucking script.
And the direction.
And the Foley.
And the cinematographer.
And the leaves. And the arrows. And the arrow shooters.
And the ninjas. The ninja / KKK
Come to think of it, Kurt, with the exception of the king, Buck Kartalian, rest in peace, you are probably the second best thing in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Kurt, stop beating yourself up, buddy. You did a good job.
Because I read somewhere.
Hold your head high, my friend.
Before this film showed up on DVD, I found, I looked it up on IMDb, and there was some discussion thread where some person claimed they met him in real life at a sporting event and brought up the movie to him, and he was really embarrassed and freaked out by it. But it's just dude, embrace it.
And then he did that weird backflip thing where he was all.
And then he was like, "No, I'm not Kurt Thomas."
Yeah, he has but he was a different personality every time he did a flip.
Yeah, his Hannibal Lecter one time, and then he was like King Kong, and then Forrest Gump. Should we call it a night? Should we wrap this mofo up and call us a night?
So that's it. Kurt Thomas, please embrace your glory.
Yes.
It's a wonderful movie. Recommended over the years, be they serious or educational,
be they comedy, be they documentary, be they instructional.
The bottom line is GYMKATA gets some of the highest returns.
Okay, and also when I was looking up Buck Kartalian's body of work, I'm telling you, this guy's awesome.
You should get a poster of him for your bedroom.
The thing is, he was a really handsome devil. Like when you see him in his TV in the 70s and stuff.
Yeah. He played the devil.
It's just he got older and older and older, and his nose got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, that's what happens to everybody.
He was in a movie that I so want to see called The Acid Eaters.
Oh, I think we have The Acid Eaters.
You're kidding.
No,
Are you fucking kidding?
I know I've come across The Acid Eaters before. I think we might have it here. It's probably one of those something weird compilations.
Dude, this is the end of our podcast. Here at Black Dog Video.
Time to go home. We're all going to sleep in our big comfy beds.
1470 Commercial Drive.
3451 Canby Street.
Here in sunny East Vancouver. And we'll see you next time with another amazing movie.
And just always remember, if you're in some tight fix out there, don't lose faith. There might be a pommel horse.
The Black Dog After Dark podcast is recorded at Black Dog Video on Commercial Drive in Vancouver, Canada. It's presented by Alex Chisholm, Darren Gay, and Dylan Reimer. It is produced by Dylan Reimer and Darren Gay. Alex just kind of stands there and drinks beer. The intro and outro music was recorded by Tiger Burning Bright, composed by Jeff, who works at Jefferson's Barbershop, also on Commercial Drive. And he's a damn good hairstylist.
This would be a great movie to watch on acid.
It probably would. Have you ever done acid?
Yes, many times. Kids, if you're listening, don't ever do LSD.
Oh, no, don't do it.
No, it's not good.
Unless you're watching GYMKATA.
Unless you're watching GYMKATA, then I'd highly recommend
And know your dealer.